Hi everyone. I thought it'd be helpful to have a screencast to help demonstrate how folders can be set up by students and then shared with their teachers in order to get off on the right foot and be organized with Google Apps for Education. So we have a fictitious student here, Lucy Van Pelt. Lucy's going to log onto her account for the first time. She's going to need to set up folders for all of her content areas or her class schedule. She's going to need to share those folders with the teacher. And then the second part of the video will show how a teacher can see the folders and organize those in an efficient way so that they can access student work easily. Here's Lucy's Drive. We know we're in Drive because under the Poneglyph Chieftains P it says Drive. Lucy's logon information shows over here. If she hasn't been automatically placed in Drive, it's easy to access from the apps menu, which is under this Rubik's Cube. I click on the Rubik's Cube and all the apps that she has access to will show. So what Lucy needs to do is create some folders. So she's going to use this Create button and choose Folders and create a folder for each of her content areas. Teachers at the middle school have found it helpful to organize it with the student's name, the name of the content area, and what period the student has that subject. And as you'll see in part 2, it'll make it super easy for the teacher to organize student work online. We'll show that later. Create that folder. Lucy's going to create a folder for all her content areas and list the period that she has them. Oops, I have forgotten her name. Lucy's also enrolled in Library Special, so she's creating a folder for Library Special. She has F period. Lucy's going to next need to share her folders with the faculty member that teaches that class, and we'll use the library folder as an example. She can click in the box and a menu is activated. She's going to click on the share button, which looks like a person with a plus sign. When she clicks that, she's asked to enter the name of people that this folder will be shared with. By default, only Lucy can access the folders she's created, but she can add names to this, and she's going to start typing the instructor's name, and names will appear in the window below. Students need to be careful at this point that they click on the appropriate person. As you can see, students are mixed in with faculty that have similar names. Mrs. Simoneau's email is right there, so we're going to click on that name, and we're going to take the checkbox off of Notify. In this situation where so many students are creating folders to share with us, we don't want to be inundated with 100 emails, and so instruct them to take that checkbox off. Google is going to confirm that we want to skip the invitation, so we're going to click OK. As you can see, the folder's changed and it's got a face on it, which indicates to the student that that folder has been shared. In the next video, we will put work in Lucy's folder, and then we'll see the teacher's perspective. Okay, so Lucy's got her folder set up, and now she's being required to create an assignment. She's going to click on the folder for the appropriate content area, and she's going to create a document. In this case, a word processing document. When she shares something in a folder, by default, it's going to be shared with the instructor she shared the folder with, and so she'll never have to think about sharing with you or her other teachers again, as long as she's in the right folder. So I'm going to click Create and Share. Documents don't have a title automatically, so she's going to click here to rename her document. And click OK. And type her assignment. All changes are saved automatically. in Drive, so Lucy doesn't need to worry about this. She can come back and continue to work on this project. So I'm going to close this window, and now we'll see that we're in Lucy's library folder, and she's got one document. Notice if she switches to a different folder, the name of the folder changes up here. This is important, and it's going to be tricky for kids to get used to, and so they'll want to be taught to pay attention to what folder they're working in. Easy enough to change folders. Drag and drop works exactly as it did in a Windows environment to move things around. The next video, we'll see it from the teacher's perspective and how a teacher can organize file folders to access student work. Okay, in part 3, we're going to see how an instructor can add student folders into their own drive in order to be able to access student work easily. As you can see, I've not logged on as Lucy anymore. I'm logged on as myself. And I'm going to go to my drive because I need to create folders for each of my scheduled classes. I'm going to click on New, Folder, Library, spelled it wrong, Library, F period. And I'd create folders for all of my scheduled classes. So if I saw students, P period, I'd want to create folders for all my students' classes. Now, depending on what version of Drive you're using, there's Classic and there's New. And I'm using New, and so under Incoming is where I'm going to see things shared with me. Yours might say Shared with Me if you're using the Classic view of Drive. And when I click on Incoming, I see all the files or folders that have been shared with me, and it's basically a history stream of all the things that have been shared with me. My students will show with their name and the folder as they named it, and I can use the icon for Drive to add a shortcut to this folder to my Drive. So when I click on this icon, I can choose the appropriate class for Lucy and move her folder into that folder. She'll still show on my history of shared items, but you'll notice that the Drive icon is gone now that I've added her to my list of folders. So let's go see. If I click on my Drive and I click on F period, is where I'd expect to see Lucy. There she is, Van Pelt. She owns it. And if I click on it, I see her library research paper, and I can open that and comment on it and communicate with Lucy in that document. Now, the reason for the naming convention is that if I had a student named Brown and a student named Smith, they'd alphabetize if they use their last names when they name their folders, and it should make it nice and organized for grading purposes to be able to go down the alphabetical list. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any trouble setting up folders or you'd like to go over this in person, I'm happy to do that. Just give me a shout and we can talk about it together. Good luck with introducing Google Drive in 9th grade.